Hey everybody, welcome back to Nightstand Coffee. I'm Todd.
And I'm Jennifer.
And this is season 1, episode 13. Can you believe we're 13
No.
episodes in? That's kind of crazy.
It is pretty nuts.
And today we're talking about complimenting each other. Why we should do it, why we don't do it, all of the ins and outs of letting your spouse know that they look good, that you're proud of them, that, whatever the compliment might be. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Why it's important.
Well, and I think one of the reasons I brought this up as something to discuss is that I think as we've gotten healthier, that's gotten easier for us.
100%.
And I think that there was definitely times in our lives that we withheld compliments for each other.
Yes.
Not even like just an appearance compliments, but like what you're good at functionally.
Yeah.
Like in your job or with, conversations with people, things you do well. Like, why are we have a tendency to withhold those things? I'm hoping this isn't just a Todd and Jennifer issue.
Well, I don't think that it is.
Okay.
So, because I think for us, like if I look at it in stages, at least for me, and you can speak for yourself, but when we first were married, I was just hesitant to give compliments. There are some reasons, and we can talk about that as we get into it. But there was a hesitancy. It wasn't that I didn't want to; it's that I was hesitant to. It felt awkward, honestly, to me sometimes. And then there was a season in our marriage where we just weren't in a good spot. We weren't getting along. And so oftentimes I wasn't seeing the good things. And when I did see the good things, I didn't want to tell you about it because I was mad about a whole bunch of other things, And so there was that kind of season. And then now we're in a healthy season where like, I want to compliment you, and not just because we're in a healthy place, but because part of getting healthy is learning how important that is.
Right.
And so I want to love you well. And so I look for ways to love you, to compliment you.
So part of how this even came up as an idea to discuss it was, and I didn't get permission to tell this story, but I think it's okay because it was a social conversation.
Okay.
So I was talking to Dante Lombardi, and when I was talking about his wife Emerson and about her being on the worship team at church. And he started talking to me about how much he loves hearing her sing. And he said that they'd be in the car and then she'd start singing along. And he said he would just look over at her and go, more of that.
Yeah.
He was really enamored with that and impressed with that. And he wanted her to do more of those things.
Yeah. Side note, I don't know if they listened to the show or not, but this past weekend was the first weekend that I've been on team with her. She's been on team a few times when I wasn't leading, but this was the first weekend that I was on team with her. She did such a great job.
Well, good. That's good. Well, Dante definitely sold me that she would be good at that. So I was thinking, man, that's so good that he's complimenting her and her skill set. And they're fairly newly married, 2 years in, maybe something like that.
Maybe it's, yeah.
And so it's like, that's really good that they're doing that.
Right.
Because I don't know that you and I were doing that at that stage, that we were saying those kind of nice things to each other. Now, I think we complimented, if the food was good, this tasted good, thanks, or maybe really briefly, that shirt looks nice on you. But to really compliment on skill sets and saying, hey, you're good at this. I remember probably the first time that I knew that you had said something complimentary about me. It wasn't even to me. We were at, this may not be the first time, but it stuck.
It's a memory for you.
Definitely. Because it was this is different. It's a really, really silly thing that you complimented me on. But we were at an amusement park with our family and we're trying to figure out where to go. And I don't know. I was pointing a direction. Someone was disagreeing with me, and you said, "Listen." It was one of our kids. You said, "Listen, your mom has a really good sense of direction. You need to go with where she's going." And I remember going, "Oh, he thinks I have a good sense of direction. That's so great." Going that's, I don't know how many years ago that was, and that was just impassive. That you were saying. That's
funny, yeah. Because as you were telling that story, I'm going, well, I wasn't thinking that I was complimenting you. I was just stating a fact.
Yeah, fact. but in the moment, but that wasn't how you talked about me, and those seasons. And so I remember going, oh yeah. And so I've randomly caught myself going, well, I have a good sense of direction, so I can do blah blah, And so that because you said that and had that input to me, or about me, and I knew you said that, then that gave me confidence. And you're not wrong. I do have I can figure out where I'm at pretty good, and can my sister and I have a story about how we like tried to find a place and like all of a sudden we just pull up and we're there. Just how did you do that? I don't know, but like so there is some moments in my life that's been true. But
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think you having said that though built confidence in me to go, yeah, okay, so yeah, I feel pretty good about this, but my husband said I'm good at it, so I know that I'm
Right.
good at it.
Which in some ways ties back into what we were talking about last week with the love languages, right? The words of affirmation. You know, not only does it make someone feel good in that moment, it can be something that informs the way that they see themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and that's super important. Like whether whether it's you with your spouse, whether it's you as a parent with your children. I mean, those words mean a lot, and we should be freer with them. We're not as free with those kinds of words as we need to be.
Well, and here's the thing. If I was getting us lost all the time, you'd be sure free to tell me that.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not following you. You don't know where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't figure this out. Like, I know better than follow you.
Hush, I know where we're going.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And so I think that we're so free with those critical words.
Yeah.
And those inform how we see ourselves as well.
Right. So why is that? You're the therapist. Why aren't we so much more free with criticism than we are with compliment?
Dude, that's a put on the spot. Call me an expert on these things. Well, I think it's just easier for us to tear each other down. I don't know that I have a therapeutic reason as to why. I'd have to research why that would be. My gut feeling is it's just it's almost like you're in competition with your spouse.
Yeah.
And so then you don't want to let them have a hand up on you.
Well, yeah, and I think
Would you have a different answer than that?
no, I think that's right. I think that we want to feel superior to the other person. We feel a sense of competition, and I don't know why that is. I mean, you know, and it's not just with our spouse. I think most people tend to feel like they're competing, even if they don't want to be in the competition, right?
Yeah.
That they still feel like they're in competition with the people around them. And so when I can be right, then I feel superior. I feel good. When I can point out that the other person is wrong, then that, you know, and everything about that, as we have this kind of conversation, as people are listening to this conversation, everything about that, we go, ooh, that's gross, but we do it.
Yeah. We definitely do. And so I think if you think about it in a scriptural way, like Paul talks about us being the body of Christ and that how it takes every body part to function. And so I'm going to get the wrong parts that he talks about, but essentially that an eye shouldn't be mad that it's a hand, and that you don't want to go, well, I wish I was a hand. Well, actually, no, you're an eye, and God created you to be an eye. And so you need to function as an eye and let the hand go be a hand and function as a hand, because we need all those parts to make the body work. Because if we're all eyeballs, eyeballs rolling around, you can't do anything. If we're all hands, we can't see where we're going. So it's like we need everything. And so it's the same in a marriage. It's the same in relationships, that we need people around us that are different from us and that have different strengths. I mean, it's a leadership principle to surround yourself with people that have different strengths than you.
Yeah.
I've been in situations and had bosses that didn't feel that way, right? That they were really threatened by people that had different skills and were better than them in things.
And their teams are dysfunctional.
Oh, my goodness.
And there's always a high turnover rate.
Yeah.
And there's always some kind of conflicts going on. And there's always a crisis because, you know, the people that need to be handling the thing aren't handling the thing.
Right.
You know,
and I've worked in both environments. I've been places where my strengths were different and they were valued. And then I've been in places where my strengths were different and they were like closeted.
Diminished.
Yeah. I mean, I have some stories, but we won't go there. So
that's a different podcast.
That's maybe might just be. I don't know how it relates to marriage necessarily, but it's definitely like therapeutic for me to.
Well, no, I mean like a third podcast that you'll start.
I see. Yeah. Okay. How does your boss treat you? Let's talk about that. And so I think it's just we got to be mindful of these things. That it's like it's good that your spouse has different skills than you.
Yeah.
It's good that they bring something different to the table, because like if you marry your identical twin, that as far as functionally, right, then you're not going to get anything done. Yeah. And so like you have the same weaknesses, you have the same strengths, like that doesn't go well together. Like you need someone that's a morning person versus an evening person. Like you need someone that like is clean versus messy, or organized versus, flippant and not really planning. Like you have to have both of those things in order for life to go well.
Yeah, you need a balance of those things. And it goes back, you did mention that it's a leadership principle, right? And so husbands, like if our role, according to the word of God, is to be the leader in our home, right? We need to look at leadership in our home in the same way we'd look at leadership in the workplace, where it's like, I'm not here just to bark out orders and tell everybody what to do. I'm here to raise up a team, right? To see people's strengths, to recognize them, to call them out, to appreciate them, to help people to grow in them so that things can function well. And so I need to be complimenting my wife. I need to be recognizing what she's good at. And I need to be making space for her to use those gifts and strengths in our marriage to make our marriage better, to make our home run better, to like all of those things that I would be looking for either as a leader in the workplace to do, or I would be looking for in a leader in my workplace. Your home should be no different. In fact, we should be more focused on leading well in our homes than we are anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, and I think whenever we'd offer these compliments or supportive, positive words, like we're going to get the best out of that person.
Yes.
And so like, this is maybe a dumb example too, but so I know I've mentioned my friends Melvin and Sarah White. And so Melvin likes the things that I cook. And so like when he asked me to make him something, I'm going to absolutely do it.
Yeah.
As if like, oh yeah, he likes what I'm going to cook. So I'm going to go do this. I'm going to make sure
that
he has a dessert request in right now that I've not made yet. And so I've got to take care of that. But like that feels good to me. Like, I'm like, I don't want to disappoint my fans, and so I'm going to make this dessert. And so, whenever you get those compliments or those positive comments, you're like, I want to fulfill that request.
Yeah.
I want to meet their expectations on this thing.
Yeah.
And so you're going to get the best out of the people around you when you compliment them. And so like, why are we so quick to tear each other down when like, it's just a switch of how we talk about things and what we say and what we point out.
Well, and honestly, maybe you don't tear people down. Maybe you just don't say anything. I mean, I think there are variants, on this. So I think when I think about, because I mentioned that I was hesitant to give compliments when we first were married. And I think part of that for me is like, that's not the environment I grew up in. Like my family wasn't complimentary in that way. And then I've talked about a little bit before about how that I love words of affirmation, but I'm skeptical of them.
Oh yeah.
And so I that made me hesitant to give compliments too, because I didn't want people to think that it was disingenuous. Right. And so I just didn't say anything. I never was one to like tear people down. I never was one to insult people or, like talk about what they did wrong necessarily. But I didn't say what they did right either. I just didn't say anything.
Right. Well, and I think when looking back at the beginning of our marriage, like I was hyper focused on the things that you were falling short with. And so I wasn't going to compliment you even if I saw them. It's like, well, but he does this bad. So why should I say he does this good?
Well, it's like the task list we've talked about before,
Let's focus on what I did do, not what I didn't do. Yeah. Right. And so like making sure that because like, well, we focus on the shortcomings and that's just not good.
Yeah.
I'll say this too, that like it's fairly recently, like you and I, we do counsel some people together. Like that's kind of a new thing for us in the last few years.
Last couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but recently we were in a session and you did something really, really well. And so, which I can see you growing in that skill set, right? Like this isn't something that comes natural for you necessarily, but you're definitely developing it and, and asking things the right way. And if there is a right or wrong way, but we're asking things in a way that propels the conversation forward. And like, there's some healing. And so like, I definitely took a minute to say, hey, you did a really good job on this. Like I noticed you did this and said this, and that was good. And I think, if I asked myself, why would I have been hesitant to do that before? And I think it would have been because this is my domain. This is what I do, right? And so then like, this is what I'm good at. And so you don't need to be good at it too.
Well,
how rude is that?
I'm learning from you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I mean more about like, if I'm, I'm taking a minute to be self-assessing and going, why would I have withheld a compliment? It's like, well, because this is my thing.
Yeah.
And so you don't need to be good at what I'm good at.
Right.
You go be good at what you're good at, and I'll be good at what I'm good at, and you can't be good at the same thing that I'm good at.
Yeah, which is
dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb. And so it's like, why would I need to be territorial about that? Why can't I go, man, that was good. You did a good job with that. Like, we had the conversation in the way that we needed to. You were able to make a point that they were able to receive. And like, because there's been times that maybe that's not been the case. And so like, good job growing in that. And honestly, I'm really great at encouraging my friends in those things. Like I don't struggle with that at all. Like even if it is quote unquote my domain, I don't have any issue like speaking life over other people in my life. Why would I withhold that from you?
I don't know. I mean, when you say that, like the first thing that comes to mind is I wonder if we don't see our spouses as our friends sometimes. That
could be fair, because I think I made a shift at one point. I started at first actually with my sister, and then applied it to you, which was that like if I'm kind to my friends, why am I not kind to my sister? Like I would say things to her that I wouldn't say to other people. I wouldn't temper them in the same way to her that I would temper them to my friends. I'm like, that's not really fair.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there should be a level of familiarity, but it doesn't mean that I'm hurtful and mean.
Right.
Right. And so then I
well, and it's the whole thing of like, I care about other people's feelings. Why don't I care about my family's feelings?
Right.
Yeah.
And so then putting it through the filter, like, okay, so if I felt like I really had to say this to somebody in my life, how would I say it to him? Okay, now this is how I'll deliver this message to my sister. Mm-hmm. And so same for you. Like if I were talking to my friends, how would I say that to them? And so this is the same way I need to tell you. Like, why do you get the worst parts of me? Why do you get the ugly parts of me? Like you should be getting the best stuff. Like we've said this before. It's like of all the people in the world, we picked each other to spend the rest of our lives with. Why are we giving you the crap end of the stick?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not that, look, as a married couple, we see the very best and the very worst in each other. And, and that's not going to, that's just part of marriage. But we have a choice as to whether or not in those ugliest moments we are pointing that at the other person or whether we are allowing them to help share the load. Those are very different things, and a lot of times, I know for us, that was the case where we would tend to be like aiming all of our frustration and anger and hurt at the other person rather than inviting them to help us carry the load together,
Yeah. And that feels really weird. Like as we're talking about it, it's like, why do we do that? They just felt so broken and jacked up, but we absolutely did that. And I'm hoping the other people's relate to this, and this is not just us having a therapeutic session. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I wasn't freer to say those things and that I wasn't willing to pull out your strengths. Because I think what happens then is like you feel really alone. Mm-hmm. And so you're thinking, I'm struggling with this issue and I can't tell my person because they're going to like point out how crappy I am at it.
Yeah. Well, look, and I think that there are people listening to this podcast right now who feel like that they are strangers living in a house together.
Yeah.
That, that they sleep in the same bed at night, but they are as alone as they can be because they can't share their heart with each other because they can't, and part of that is because there's an unwillingness to call out the good in the other person, to see it and to call it out. And because of that we each feel unseen. I know for us, that was where I was in that season of our marriage. Like, I didn't feel like you saw me. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like you appreciated me. And man, making that switch where we go, you know what? It doesn't matter if my spouse is not perfect. I need to call out the things that I do see. I need to be grateful. I need to have an attitude of appreciation. And and then you start to see those things more. We often in counseling or when we're talking to other couples, and maybe we've even mentioned it on the show before, that whole kind of you see what you're looking for. When you buy a new car, and you think no one else has this car, and then all of a sudden you see a million of them on the road because you are attuned to them now, because you're aware of them now, and you weren't aware of them before. And it's the same thing with the good things in our spouse. If we look for them and pay attention to them, then not only does that speaking into our spouse bring life to them, it changes our point of view, our awareness. We become more aware of those good things, and and the bad things tend to diminish. It's not that they aren't still there. I mean, I am not perfect, right?
Yes. I love you though.
Right. And that's the thing. I know that you love me because you talk about the things you love rather than focusing on the things that frustrate you. And it's not that we don't ever talk about our frustrations. We do.
Right.
But now we're in a place where when we do talk about our frustrations, I know that it's not because that's the thing that you're most focused on. I know you're talking about those things because you love me and you want me to be better.
Well, and so it's almost like a difference between like if you're falling and you're either going to hit concrete or you're going to like land in one of those like big bubble pit things, or like whenever you're falling out of a building or whatever from a fire, you land into this big air cushion thing. And so like it feels like that's the difference in these things. It's like when you're falling and you know that your spouse,
it's a soft place to land.
It is. Yeah. And so then you are much easier to bounce back. You don't get wounded as bad. And like you can say, you know that they love you and that it's it's coming from a place of still acceptance and care.
Yeah.
If you're hitting the concrete, it's like you're alone. It's hurt still.
Yeah.
And like you're still fighting it by yourself.
If you bring a criticism to me now, I know that it's because you want what's best for me and not because you are trying to bring me down. When there was a season where I felt like that every critique was because you wanted to bring me down. You wanted to let me know how terrible I was, how bad a job I was doing. And so it's not that it's not that critique has to wound, it's how we wield it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a scalpel. A doctor, like you can do a lot of damage with a scalpel, right?
Yes.
You can wound somebody. You can, cut an artery and have them to bleed out on the floor, right? But in the right hands and wielded the right way, a scalpel can be the thing that removes a cancer, right? And critique is the same. And I think there's a big difference between a critique and a criticism. If I can kind of parse words a little bit, right? A critique is something that is aimed at helping a person to grow. A criticism is something that is aimed at tearing a person down.
Well, and I would also add that a critique also tells the person how to correct it. Right? A criticism is just, hey, you suck at this.
Right.
But a critique is, hey, you're not doing so well at this, and this is what needs to change.
Yeah.
This is how it would look to change.
Yeah.
Right? And so then it is about growth. It is about helping the person to be the best that they can be. But man, it's so much easier to receive those things when you know that at your core, they love you.
Yeah. And so I would say this, if there's something that if there's a criticism or a critique that you want to levy, ask yourself this: am I criticizing this because it's frustrating me, or am I pointing this out because I truly want what's best for my spouse? Because I see this as an opportunity for them to grow and to flourish, right? Because if it's I'm pointing this out because it's frustrating me, well, that's selfish, right?
Well, but that doesn't mean you don't talk about it.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if it's I want them to stop doing this because it bugs the crap out of me, well, that's not really a good reason.
Really, though? It could be.
No, I don't think so.
It's a good reason to have a conversation.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because I can think of things, not even in us, but people that we've talked to, like the loud candy wrappers that someone gets annoyed by. And so it's like, well, that bugs them. And so then it's okay to communicate that, but you don't want to communicate it in a way that's rejecting, right? Like,
maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Do you have an example of what would be true?
I don't know. I just feel like that whenever something is annoying me, my first response should not be to tell you to quit doing it. My first response should be, well, why does that bother me?
Okay.
It needs to be self-reflective first. I need to make sure that I'm not communicating it just out of a place of my own selfishness and frustration.
Okay.
And because then like it shouldn't be just because it's what I want. That's the thing that I'm getting at. It's
okay.
Like, you shouldn't stop ruffling your candy wrappers just because that's what I want.
Sure.
Now,
but if there's legit, like, I don't know what the name of it is when
sensory sensitivity or whatever.
Something. Like, hey, this is something it needs to stop.
Yeah.
Because it's really disruptive to me. And so like,
and I know we're talking about sound things and there are a million other things that this could, probably be better examples, but I mean, I know for me, there are certain sounds that like immediately, like I feel like I'm getting angry.
Yeah, me. Shrill guitar. I cannot do shrill guitar music. That it just instantly,
right.
That high pitched guitar.
Well, but everybody on earth doesn't have to stop playing shrill guitar.
This is true, but I make you turn it off because like I can't take that sound. So I'm like, listen, I cannot listen to this. Please, can we do something else? Like, it's just something about their frequency. I think it just gets me. So anyway.
So let's talk about some kind of maybe some specific kinds of compliments. So if your spouse dresses up and they look pretty, what would stop you from saying, "Wow, you look good"?
I don't know. I don't think that does stop.
Well, maybe not us in particular, like specifically, but like, why do you think people would have a hard time with that?
Well, if we're talking about a wife, if the wife seems to, if the husband suspects that the wife is dressing nice to get attention from someone else, they may withhold the compliment because they don't want to encourage that. Or go, if they feel like you're dressed up to get someone else's attention, as opposed to their own, that would be a reason, I guess, that they would do it.
Yeah.
Or if they think that their person is like way too focused on looking good.
Right.
And they're annoyed by that, so that they don't want to say nice things.
I think for me, going back to my tendency to suspect compliments, I probably felt like that you thought any compliment that I gave you on your looks was about wanting to get in your pants.
Usually it was.
Well, I mean, but
okay.
But so I feel like that you felt like everything was a sexual advance.
Yes.
And so then I was hesitant to say anything because it's like, well, I don't want her to think I'm just saying that because I want to have sex with her.
Yeah.
And so that
that's true.
That was an issue for me.
Okay. And so then I think I told you earlier what my reason to withhold compliments would have been was because I was too focused on the things that you weren't doing well. Mm-hmm. And so then I didn't want to take the time to point out anything good. It's like, well, yeah, I may be good at that, but these are all the things that you're not doing good.
Yeah.
So it's like, when he figures those things out, maybe we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And it was just rude and withholding.
Yeah.
I think. And even we might be more willing to compliment to other people, right? About our spouse, like with.
Oh yeah. I always was willing to tell other people about the good things that you do and you can do. And we're like, I never had a problem telling other people. It was really more about you. There's
been a few times that you've preached that you've said that I was cooler than you. Like that if you don't know my wife, you should because she's cooler than me. And so like, I remember those things. Can you think of anything that I complimented you on that you remember that stands out? Or do I just pay more attention to that? Okay, while you're thinking, I want to name our phenomenon. So you mentioned earlier about when we start looking for the right things. And so then I call that the Nissan Rogue phenomenon.
Oh,
And here's why. Because prior to us owning a Nissan Rogue, we never ever noticed them on the road. That was a car that we ended up getting for our daughter, Coco. And once we got it and we're aware of them, those cars are everywhere. I mean, they're everywhere. And so then when you start looking for those things, you see them. And so it's just, I call that the Nissan Rogue principle, or phenomenon, whichever word, but the Nissan Rogue thing, that when you start looking for it, you start seeing it. And so I think it's important that we start looking for the Nissan Rogues. We start looking for the things to be complimentary about and to cheer them on. Mm-hmm. Did you come up with a compliment that I've given you?
No.
This is not good. We should have done that beforehand.
I guess so. I mean,
really nothing. We don't want to sit here in dead silence while you think of something.
I really can't.
Okay. Well, this is great.
I mean, you often compliment my parenting.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you tell people that I'm a really good girl dad.
You are a good girl dad. Let me tell you, can I explain part of why you're a good girl dad? So yesterday you got some new clothes in the mail. and so you tried them on and you showed the girls. And so,
Yeah.
and the girls thought that was so great that you would like do a fashion show for them because that's what they do to us.
That's what
right?
they do every time there's new clothes.
Yep. They want to try them on and show it to us, and we have to say what we think about that.
And honestly, as they've gotten older, they do it less. And so I'll say, hey, don't I get a fashion show?
Yeah.
You know, and
like,
then they'll do
okay.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so like, but being interested in the things that they're interested in and you know, being sensitive and kind to them, you know.
Yeah.
There's been hormone moments that you don't know what to do with.
Well, I had brothers.
Right.
I did not know how to deal with the girl stuff.
I
Like,
remember
even when they were really small.
Oh.
Like I remember like why are you crying? I don't know. And I was like, how do you not know?
Because you just don't know
why
That's
you're
why.
crying.
Because you don't know. You just feel it.
Yeah.
There was one time I remember that like one of them was crying in the hallway and they're right outside the bathroom door and you were in the bathroom and they're laying in the floor bawling. Ugh. And so you open the bathroom door and you look down and look at this and I go, just step over it. And you're like, okay. So you stepped over it and kept moving. It's like, yeah, this is just where we're at right now. So just leave it be. It's fine. They'll come around in a little bit. So.
And that was a whole new world for me. And so there was a steep learning curve when we first had babies.
Yeah.
But I've grown into it.
Yeah. Well, and then Ari, our granddaughter, thinks you're the best thing since sliced bread. So she's...
Well, it's mutual.
Yeah. True. So anyway, okay, we're going to think about that. Figure out what the compliment would be besides your parenting. Like, this is troublesome to me.
Well, that's a big thing to me, though. I'll be honest. Like, when you tell people that I'm a good girl dad, that means a lot to me.
Okay, good.
You know? Because outside of being your husband, there's not a more important...
Yeah. An important role for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they need you. And you've loved them well. And they know they can count on you. In a lot of ways, like you're who they call to like if they forget something because you've got more flexibility in your schedule than I do, right? And so
Yes.
They call me for money and permission to go places. And then they call you
to bail them out.
Yeah, just like, I forgot this. Can you go do this?
Yep.
Or can you come pick me up or this and that? And so like they know that they can count on you. And that's not always true for people.
Well, and then there was a really good compliment that Coco gave me recently to like, she was talking about what she was looking for in a husband. Uh-huh. And she said that I could fix anything, you know?
Oh.
And so
that's interesting because I would have not said that when we first got married.
Well, and which is, I don't believe true.
Okay.
Like, I don't know that I can fix anything. But it had to do with her car. You know, like my dad can fix it, you know, like,
Aww.
yeah.
That's good.
And
and so then I definitely believe that my dad could fix anything. And so then I think when we first got married, I didn't perceive that you could, but you've definitely grown in that area and like gone and just handled things and taken care of stuff. Like you've definitely gotten better with that. And so thank you for learning hard things.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Look at all these compliments I'm giving you.
Wow.
Yeah. Get on it. Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap this episode up. We haven't decided next time.
May your marriage be like Jennifer's coffee, sweet and hot.
That is not our tagline. That is not our tagline. It's not happening. Okay. All right. See you next week.